Hey everybody, what's up? It's Chase. Welcome to another episode of the Chase Jarvis Live Show here on Creative Live. You all know this show, or I hope you do by now. This is a show where I sit down with amazing humans and I do everything I can to unpack their brains with the single goal of helping you live your dreams, whether that's career or hobby or life. My guest today is going to take you on a journey. We're here to discuss a bunch of stuff. She's done like 3 or 4 books. A new one, White Hot Truth, is super hot, and my guest today is Danielle LaPorte. Yay! Yay! It was like you hug across the chair. Yeah. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh yeah.
We were just talking about this. Is like been kind of a long time in the making.
Yes, I've had my eye on your space and how you're growing, and and for everybody who's watching, when I walked in, I'm so happy for your success.
Thank you.
Yeah, you pulled it off. I wanted to do this, and I was like, let Chase do it.
What you should have said is like, that is a hell of a lot of work. Look at the bags under that dude's eyes.
Crazy.
Totally crazy.
Yeah.
Well, if you have, if you are kind enough to say those nice things about me, I'll be kind enough to say your work is crazy impactful.
Thanks.
And so well-timed, so relevant culturally. We're going to take a nice arc in the show today. We can go wherever you want to go, but I have a couple of things I want to hit on. A couple of things we invariably, I don't know if for those folks at home, you could probably grasp that this happens. We don't just walk in and sit down and start recording. There's like small talk, and I'm so happy you're here. I was just watching your thing, and we end up saying a bunch of stuff that I'm just like, we had to decide to stop talking so we could save it for the broadcast. Yeah, and I'm also very jealous that you're Canadian. I think it's Canadian.
Understandable.
I love my country. I also love Canada. I'll just say that.
Yeah. It's lovable right now.
It is. It's so lovable. Mm-hmm. But welcome to the show. Thank you for agreeing to be here. I did just sneak a peek, and you were recording something else down the hall here at Creative Live. I don't know. I guess, yeah, the folks at home would know. It's podcast week. She was interviewed by Srini. Give me a little context for the folks at home. Again, you know our audience here really well. You've said you've watched the show a bunch.
Yeah.
Just start at the start.
Start at the start?
Start at the start.
Oh,
Go back a little bit.
That question.
Come on, start at the start. Open-ended.
Start at the start. Let me start with today. I'm grateful to be here.
Thank you.
I'm very interested in the medicine and the poison that is social media. I'm very interested in conversations around goal setting. I'm probably most well known at this point for a program called Desire Map, which is like what I call a soulful approach to goal setting. But really that's actually a bit of a tricky subtitle because it was really about like anti-goal setting. Mm-hmm. So there's something interesting there. Oprah, yeah. I had brunch with Oprah.
That's pretty badass.
That's pretty badass.
And you're one of her 100 awesome
super souls,
super people.
Yeah, Stedman was there for brunch. Stedman just walked in his tracksuit. I think he was just there for like the food.
Hey, amazing.
Yeah. White Hot Truth is the most recent book. Mm-hmm. Fire Starter Sessions was one of my first things, big offerings, which is about defining success on your own terms and being everything that's not about plastic and genetically assumed definitions of ambition. And I'll say everything I wrote like before 9 o'clock this morning, I want to burn.
Okay,
I don't want to start over.
Yep.
I just want it to all go away so I can say what I have to say today about whatever is up for me. Yeah.
I think you just gave me like 10 hours worth of material, so I don't know if you noticed, I just handcuffed you to the chair. We're going to be here for a while, folks.
Yeah,
let's go to I think you were most fired up as I was just listening to you talk about what you were, you gave us a nice little arc there, but you were really, there's some real seriousness in your voice around social.
Yeah.
You just like the benefits and the poison, like you called it.
I think it's like any medicine. You take too much of it and it's poison. I'm at a place, so, context, I'm sure everybody gets this. If you have an author, or if you're an author and you have books, your engine of your business is social media. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, deep introspection, pulling out my relationship to all of that. How do I change my relationship to Facebook when really I think Facebook has become this vitriolic circus that's really not doing as much good as it could? I think it should be free. That sells my day planners and it sells my books. And in examining my relationship, like my business's relationship to social media, I have had to look at the fact that I am a workaholic.
Wow.
And I've never really said that.
Thank you for saying it here.
Yeah. And I don't know what, I'm aware of 12 steps and have lots of friends who have gone through that process and held by it. I think you always state it in the present tense, which doesn't work for me, but I'm a recovering workaholic. And that really shifts my relationship to social.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had a feeling the other day, I was like, I don't like not being present. I think like presence and awareness is something basically it's been a 10-year journey for me, constantly just trying to get back to the moment. And busy people, we say we're busy as cool because it means you got a lot going on. And it's like, I think I'm just getting so tired of all that.
Yep.
And now when people say, how are you? I say, I'm tired because I'm passionate about things I'm working on, but I just don't like, I guess where I'll just finish my earlier thought. I looked at my phone yesterday and time had passed and I was not sure how much time. I just knew that I was just scrolling. And I said to myself, there is nothing good happening right now. And sometimes there's plenty of good things that do come out of it, but just yesterday, I think it was yesterday evening, I was like, nothing good just happened. I feel worse than when I started scrolling. And to me, that was this thing like, whoa, we gotta figure this out.
And I think our devices have been around long enough that this is like generational isn't quite the right track for this, but it's like the evidence is coming in. We're starting to see what it's doing to our brains.
Yeah.
We're starting to see what it's doing to our lives. And this is, you're talking about presence, and that's everything everybody's craving. The guy, the girl, the money, the promotion, whatever. Everything you want is really just underlying that. It's just a craving to be home.
Yeah.
And all
whatever
this
home is for you.
whatever home is for you.
Yeah.
It has a lot to do with love. And this is taking us out. And now we know, like, for me, the collision with realizing, workaholism, which I justified for so long. I saw you have a video up about the balance of the myth of life balance, which I wrote about for years. And now I have to really question that. Like, I'd say, well, it's about harmony, And
How can I dodge the question?
Anybody great never did anything without being exhausted at the finish line.
Yeah.
And I think that's true. I mean, you push the baby out and you launch but I got to a point where social, let's just say in general, was just really making me sick.
Yeah.
And having so many of those moments, like, I'm just never going to get that back. And I'm really trying to be a morning person, go to bed at 10 p.m. And this is interrupting and dopamine and
Yeah.
And the awareness was like, when I didn't have that to fill it, my inclination was still to find some form of work.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
I like that you put social in work, because that's what you mean by being a workaholic, right? You're working really hard on things you care about, but also this is sort of passively working, because if you're doing this, you're thinking about work probably.
Oh, I'm looking, do you love me? Was that a hit? Was that article? Hey, that article, somebody thinks I'm smart today.
Yeah.
And I wonder if I wasn't in this business, the hustle your wisdom business, I might just like call my friends instead of having a little Instagram account. It would be radical.
Hustle your wisdom. I love that. That's brilliant. I've not heard that.
It's pretty much what I do.
Hustle your wisdom. All right, so
if we can assume it's wisdom, that's a big leap there, but yeah.
It's clearly wisdom. You found a lot of success. I would like to congratulate you on your success, by the way. But let's uncork this just a little bit further. Okay. So you framed it as helpful for your business, necessary, maybe even.
Essential, critical.
Critical.
Yeah.
Okay.
Life force.
How do you have a safe relationship with social?
Well, you examine your greed, for one. How much do you need? We went through a big process. I mean, still in it with my business.
Mm-hmm.
So team of 9, all women, one lucky dude. And, what does growth really mean? Do we have to grow? Why can't we just, we went through an exercise where, what's our keep the lights on number? And by keep the lights, I mean, everybody is well paid. Everybody we're bringing in a coach, take time off for your honeymoon, like just juicy lives. I want to be generous, not just competitive. I want to be generous. And I feel, paying people adequately, let alone paying them generously, is an act of feminism, because patriarchy is always looking for a deal. So I feel like woman by paying my people well. That's the keep the lights on number. And then there's healthy. We don't have to worry. What if we put something on and it's a flop? Mm-hmm. What if I go nuts and I need 6 months off? That's always I just asked my accountant the other day, I'm like, so that business insurance you're getting for me? If I go crazy, is it covered? Because I think I'm fucking nuts right now. So there's the well number. And then there's the outside of that is the growth number. And for me, that growth is about, we get to hire the best people outside of the core team. I want the best designer. I want, and I can make whatever I want to make. And I can get 80-pound cardstock and even go old school and print it. I want my gold foil, right?
Ooh.
That's the growth
Deboss
number.
that sucker.
Yeah, that's it. And then outside of that is just, we just want to be like super flush. And I want to pay my house off and I want to get another place. And I don't need to be there. Because that number out there is, right now for me, is crazy making. I want to be well. Mm-hmm. And
was this a formal process that you did internally for your team?
Well, it usually happens in my living room with some tea, and I'm just like, it's got to change, you guys. There was some formalization to it. Yeah.
And is that an exercise that you prescribe? Like, how did you find yourself in there? Are you eating your own medicine here?
Oh, totally, because we're addicted to growth, because I think capitalism is killing us. And we're
devil's advocate, so what's the opposite of you're either growing or you're dying?
Well, you can grow consciously, and you may have to say no sometimes to expansion because it's what's most nourishing.
Yeah.
And you see, you're in touch with your system, and when your system is serving you and when it's breaking you.
Yeah.
And, I really think at this point, this is like beyond idealistic, but business has to be in service to humanity.
Yeah.
It's not just triple bottom line. It's not just neutral.
Yeah.
This business exists to make a difference.
I think that's I don't even want to call it a trend. That feels like it's way undervalued. It's like a realization that this is actually the only thing that makes this whole program sustainable is if there is some inherent value beyond shareholder value and growth at all cost. So little backstory sharing here.
Yeah.
And I got to be careful because it's a double-edged sword, but started out this company. It was a side project. It was a little side hustle for me and my partner. We flipped the lights on and boom, our first class had 50,000 people. And you're like, wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was incredible. And the second one had 100,000.
How did that happen?
And the third one had 150,000. It was probably the biggest class that the world's ever had. And it was interesting. And we definitely said, okay, we got a tiger by the tail. So what we do, you start figuring out how to grow it, and it's fun. And at some point, we had venture capital and said, "Oh, we wanted to let's do this." Great, went through the process, found some amazing partners, and then we're down in Silicon Valley, so we got a footprint down there as well. Now, grow, and I think. Are
you sleeping through the night? Are you?
Look at me! Hell no! Are you kidding? Look at it. This is not the face of a dude who gets a lot of sleep. And I espouse and I profess to sleep. I laid in bed for 8 hours last night. I did not sleep for 8 hours, but I was in the covers for 8 hours. But my point is this. In that culture, growth is the
Growth is God.
It's almost the only metric.
Yeah.
And one person I had on the show who is actually in one of the venture capital firms, Greylock, one of the top firms of all time, Reid Hoffman. He's here, and he said one of the biggest decisions we made at LinkedIn was to make this, our 90% of our money came from businesses, yet we needed to make the product for the individual users. And that was radical because it wasn't actually it was a decision to leave money on the table in service of something we believed in, which was providing a service for a human, an individual person. I thought that was remarkable.
It is.
The irony is that that is not dominant. That's not what my experience of Silicon Valley. It's basically grow at all costs.
Yeah.
Now, this is a long interlude here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to now ask you, but isn't personal growth the thing that we're all striving for? Are we striving, is it love that we're striving for? Is it personal development?
Development to what?
This is, exactly.
So,
I'm giving you some breadcrumbs here, but take them and tell me. Because people listen to the show because they want to grow and change and transform their lives. And you've just said a really, I think, a bold thing. It's it's not grow at all cost.
No.
There's this, we have to look at it more carefully. And so I want you to talk about that for a second.
Well, my whole thesis, if I may.
Please, this is theses are why you're here.
My whole thesis with White Hot Truth is that self-help too often is becoming a tool for self-criticism.
It's beautiful.
It's another form of addiction, this form of personal growth. Thanks for setting this up, because I haven't thought about it in a while.
No.
And it really begins with the intention. So, are you going for therapy? Are you using your Fitbit? Are you logging time on the meditation cushion? Are you going to the retreat about pussy power? Are you eating green? Whatever it is that you think is going to make you a better person. Are you doing that out of this place of inadequacy? Out of this place of shame? Out of this place of just Catholic guilt, Jewish guilt? It's all, you're guilty.
Right.
If you're in an organized religion,
you're guilty.
Really fucking
for
wrong.
sure.
And that will just put you on this hamster wheel, and it'll cost you a lot of money. My revelation was, I basically got down to this question: is everything I'm doing to be well really making me well? And it was actually stressing me out. And I looked at my day planner, which I produce, by the way.
You can get it for $99.95.
And
they are remarkable, though.
they're
beautiful.
It's a beautiful system.
Beautiful.
I love that offering. And I had a Skype with a shaman, and then yoga, and then I would write a little smiley face every time I go to yoga because it made me a better person. And then I had my shrink, and I just what am I doing? And I went through withdrawals. I just took myself off the program and had some great betrayal stuff happen with an energy worker. And it was just really clear, just clean my space up. And the withdrawals were, oh my God, I should talk to my coach before I sign this contract. Nope. I said self-referencing, self-agency. And my life did not fall apart. And
that's the good news.
It's the good news. I was, for a long time, when I was doing speaking gigs, I would stand up and say, let's run this like an AA meeting. I would stand up and say, my name is Danielle. Everybody, hello, Danielle. And I'd be like, it has been 11 months since I had an astrology reading. I have not been to a psychic for a year. And I've saved a lot of money and a lot more peace. And yeah.
Talk about self-hate. I was impressed by that, your take on that. I think that's I have been introduced to that term in, I would say, the last 2 to 40 years, and I'm seeing it sort of grow in popularity, and it sounds harsh.
It sounds so
harsh.
It
does sound harsh.
Yeah.
But you speak of it eloquently.
I think it's I don't want to say underpinning. I think it's a through line in a lot of our motivations. And I think a lot of it comes from family of origin stuff. Everybody in their innocent fumbling and bumbling of raising children. And we get planted with these toxic little seeds about self-worth and all the things we should be ashamed of. And, you know, my audience is predominantly new age women, self-referencing. And it's amazing when you ask a room full of 4,000 women if maybe just a little bit, if they hate themselves.
We'll go deeper, because I think for those who have just heard that term for the first time, like, what do you mean by that? Because I don't, like, I'm sitting here like, I don't hate myself. I think I'm a pretty good guy, and or in your case, a pretty good woman, and I do X and Y. I got my faults, but hey.
You're decent.
Yeah, but what, like, do you consider self-hate like the voice in my head that what Ariana Huffington calls your unwanted roommate? Or like what, so people can say, oh yeah, I got a little bit of that self-hate.
Oh yeah.
Describe it. What is it?
Oh, I should be further along than I am. I need to be skinnier, curvier, whiter, browner, longer, shorter. It's all tangled up with the striving. It's part of the game of comparison. Comparison will kill your spirit. It's the self-talk for sure. I mean, sometimes I'm struck when I see a really powerful person, like let's define that, a person who's in a position of influence, and they say something like, "Oh, I'm such an idiot." I mean, sure, there's sometimes you say, I was such an idiot, oh my God, what was I thinking? Just how people speak of themselves, or what, you wouldn't talk to your child like that. And, you know, the beautiful story in the self-hatred conversation is around the first time I heard about this meeting that happened with the Dalai Lama and a group of psychologists and some scientists and high-level meditators. And somebody brought up the concept of self-hatred to the Dalai Lama, 14th incarnation of the Buddha. Never heard of this. You can see it. He kept turning to his translator saying, like, I don't get it. And I just, you know, if I was there, I'd say, listen, it's an epidemic. And it's driving so much of what we do, and it's the poison in the water, and let's just call it for what it is. And I thought, doesn't everybody hate themselves just a little bit? Apparently not. Apparently not. I want to be there. I mean, I think
is it a Western culture thing? Is it a male, a female? Is it U.S.? Is it pop culture? What's driving it?
Well, I think it's just wildfire in Western culture, and Western culture is, you know, there's globalism. And the comparison that social media gives everybody the opportunity every day.
You saw where I was going. We're bringing it back.
Filter it back.
We're bringing it back.
Yeah, just filter that shit up and then see who's comparing. I mean, I used to co-run a think tank, and we would scenario plan for future cataclysmic events. And I remember somebody brought up, what happens if people in third world situations see commercials of that woman pouring Coca-Cola into a glass of ice? I mean, that hurts your brain. You gotta really think, okay, what happens? They see everything that's going on. It was the ice. They don't have they don't have ice. They're gonna feel lacking. Now they're gonna need the fridge. Now they need a job.
Yep.
It's a comparison explosion.
So how do you escape it? Like, again, I think intentionally I'm trying to underscore the point that what we're talking about is everywhere, it's pervasive.
Yeah.
So I'm setting up the problem.
Yeah.
Okay. And right now you're like, wait a minute, now if I drink Coca-Cola with ice, I'm bad?
Right.
Like, so,
right.
And I mean, how do you remedy? Like, so let me back up.
Okay.
What we have just established is that everyone's got a little self-hate, because that's if self-hate is defined. This is a loose definition. I'm going to try and take from your word. like it's that negative self-talk. I'm not tall enough, skinny enough, smart enough, fast enough, etc. Rich enough. We've all got it. I don't know anyone who doesn't. But you've also said is social is everywhere. Comparing that it's enhancing our ability to compare more quickly because media and information is coming at us more quickly. Dear God, take me out of the cave because I feel like I want to jump off a bridge, and this is not optimistic. Deliver me. Okay? Tell me
All
like,
right.
let's
go to the promised land.
Go to the promised land, because that's a very bleak and 9 out of 10 guests on the show, we talk about how I built my business on the back of being able to tell stories on the internet, and it's the great democratizer, and it's the first time in the history of the world where we all have access to distribution, blah, blah, blah. And all those things, can they both be true at the same time?
Absolutely. I mean, consciousness is about being able to hold conflicting ideologies at the same time. You can see both. It's very gray, and it's very messy, and it's very beautiful. How you get out, you have to want to get out. You have to want to be conscious. This isn't like you get to swim in this sea of culture and maybe the idea will come, someone's going to feed you something and you're going to want to live a holistic life and love yourself. You have to want it with all your might, and you have to do the work. You have to go for therapy. You have to eat clean. I mean, do what you want.
Sure.
But there's a reason why clean eating and meditation, some form of contemplation, and moving your body in a sacred way, not just running to be fit, but being one with your bod. There's a reason those things have been preached about for thousands of years, because they work.
Yeah.
If you are in enough pain, we either move towards pleasure or pain. I vote for pleasure.
Same.
Right?
Same.
But if you're in enough pain, you're going to reach for some tools to wake up. Those will put you on the path to self-agency. You will get to the bedrock of self-hate. You will go through the hell of that, and you will realize you have only love to live for. But that requires some chutzpah.
Some chutzpah.
Yeah.
So you write about the chutzpah
I do.
that requires.
Yeah.
You gave us a bunch of tactics just now. We need to meditate. We need to move our body spiritually. By that, do you mean
eat clean?
Yoga.
Yeah, I mean, go for a run and make it your offering to God. Whatever. Go.
Just be present.
Go for
in
a
that.
walk around the block and just say a prayer for journalists and democracy, and that the planet gets cleaned up. Just be intentional how you move your body. Yeah.
Okay. Are there things that are on this list? And for what it's worth, it's taken me most of my life to figure out all of the things that you're talking about now. I do have a list of 10 things that I do every day, and everything that you just mentioned is on that list. I don't always do it. Please do.
What if you don't do the 10 things? Do you feel like shit?
I do. Not all 10. Not all 10. I can run with 6 out of 10 for a while,
Right.
and then the wheels do start to come
But by
off.
feel like shit, I don't mean like your demeanor or whatever, but do you criticize yourself if you're not doing the 10?
To me, I use it as awareness practice. So to me, and this is a process that I have had to go through in order to arrive at this place, which is I use this as a reminder that when the reason you have a map the reason you make a plan is so when shit is blowing up around you, you don't have to create a plan. You look at the piece of paper that you wrote when you were of sound mind and body. It's like, oh, I do this. When hell's breaking loose, I just go back to these basic things. And so I have learned to look at that more as a roadmap and a reminder than as a, you dick, you didn't, meditate yesterday morning.
Beautiful.
So I've figured it out, but my competitive self and an earlier me was like, oh, what is this 9 out of 10 shit?
Chase 1.0. Yeah.
But I think what I can say about it is, and this is the nature of my question and will follow, but this is true to this day. I do not have an experience of doing this list of 10 things and not feeling amazing. Even when some of the worst shit in my life was happening,
Yes.
if I get 8 hours of sleep, eat clean, drink 64 ounces of water, meditate, move my body every day, have 0 to 1 glasses of alcohol, and there's a couple of others, we'll just leave them off, but that's about 7. I have no experience of doing all of those things and not feeling great. So...
And let's, for everybody listening, say, there's feeling great, and there's also the experience of just suffering a little bit less.
Yeah.
And that's okay too.
Yeah.
With that, yeah.
Beautiful. I love the way you put that. My question, this is also a long lead-in, boy. What's on your list?
Oh, what's on my list?
Yeah, is it those things or some different things on there? Because this is what I love about this show is that we cover a lot of ground, it's big ideas, and it's very tactical all at the same time. Like you said, you can hold these things, that is wisdom, or that is not...
conflicting ideas.
Consciousness. There you go.
So I have a list, but I also have a newly developing way that I hold the list, which is so much more compassionate than it used to be.
Okay.
This is like Danielle 2.0. So the list is, I meditate on a regular basis, usually 7 days a week. And sometimes that is sitting for 11 minutes and I have a particular thing I do. Sometimes I can go off and really move into like a visualization practice for a long time. And I have an altar that I sit in front of at home. But I mean, just on the way here, I took the shuttle down and I was doing my stuff on the shuttle. And I also work with some mantras sometimes. I pray a lot. And my relationship to prayer has been shifting. I used to always be negotiating with the higher power, like, oh, do this and I promise I'll serve. No, we're in concert here. This is teamwork. I'm going to ask and I'm going to believe. Sometimes I just have to imagine, but I'm going to believe I'm worth having this prayer answered. So those are my contemplative practices. And I eat pretty clean. Not a lot that I can buy out of the average grocery store. So farmer's market, and really intentional about that. And I move my body in a way that is about me being closer to the life source. So there's days to get on the treadmill and just run. But mostly for me, that's yoga. There's zero competition about it. If I get a tighter ass, it's a bonus. It's not the reason I'm doing it. I dance. I dance in my living room. I dance in my kitchen. And I would say that my friends are a religion. I mean, I'm really so aware that if you're not loving, you're an asshole, really. I mean, just my friends scoop me out and lift me up. And what I get from trying to do that for them is really the closest I feel to life, in addition to loving my incredibly awesome 14-year-old son. But yeah, friendship. Friendship is a spiritual practice.
I love that. What do you do to practice friendship?
Oh, text obsessively. Always choose the friend over the deadline. 9 times out of 10, choose the friend over the deadline. And check in. And there's always a couple questions like, how's your heart? You can go hang out with your buddy in like cafe or whatever, 45 minutes ago, and you talk about life, but you don't really know how their being is doing.
Yeah.
Just like you might just say, how are you really doing? And just listen. Yeah.
Talk to me about deep positivity.
Oh God, deep positivity.
Because what you just said is like, a second ago, you're like, don't be an asshole.
Don't be an asshole.
And then I just looked at my notes and it said deep positivity.
Well, here's the thing. The idea, the concept of positive thinking in the New Age movement, I think is leading us astray. Okay. And it's the idea that you're going to think positively no matter what's going on. And you know what that is? That is fucking denial. And it is not going to make you a stronger person. It's not going to make you more creative. And it sets us up so that, we're on the track for the goal and for the achievement. And it's like this is going to work out the way I want it to work out. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. How many times does it happen? 50-50, you're going to get what you set out to get. So if you're not getting what you set out to get, then the comparison comes in. You're starting to feel like a loser. I still got my shit together, but I still feel like a loser. Now, deep positivity is that even if I do not get what I want, I will be okay. I will survive and I will thrive no matter what. Life has got my back. Love will come into I will still be a loving person no matter what. And when you are this is a very difficult place to live from all the time, but when you're there, oh my God, stuff can come to you.
Yeah, it's like you're more open
less
to
neurotic.
it. Yeah.
You sleep better. There's less grasping. When there's less grasping, there's more generosity. Yeah.
I have the way that I have tried to capture that. I think you just did maybe the most eloquent explanation I've heard of it. The thing that I was like is like, life is happening for you, not to you. Is that in line with what you're talking about, or is that a different thing?
I would say, let's take it one step further. Life is happening with me. I think I really need to show up for life, and maybe that's like some Catholic hangover guilt thing I have that I got to work for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm down with the teamwork idea.
Interesting. And so, is that showing up? That's the teamwork part. Is that
That's my list.
Moving your body? Is that your list?
That's my list, and I would add to the list. It's not essential for everybody, but on my list is like, I want to be of service, and I feel better when I'm generous. Yeah, and the reason I say it might not be on everybody's list is because I think, some lifetimes you get a get out of jail card free, and you can just live in your castle, and it's, some of us just get easy lives. I mean, that's part of my belief system, and sometimes others, we're gonna work. Yeah.
So, let's put a pin in all that for a second.
Okay.
Now, this is my hope here is that this helps the conversation. What do you feel like, I'm going to try and feed you your own medicine here.
Okay.
There are things that are going phenomenal for you. Clearly, career-wise, we just talked about the bountiful way that you approached growth in your business and want to make sure everyone's paid well. And what I'm interested in is not just all the fluff.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm like, that you're providing for those people and it's going well is fantastic. I know that the folks at home are sitting there, like they're comparing your highlight reel and this conversation you had with your 9 employees, 9 female, 1 male, and said, that's awesome, but that's not how it's going for me right now. Because that's what we do in a comparative world, right? We say my real world is getting compared constantly to Danielle's highlight reel, because that's all I know of Danielle's, her highlight reel.
Oh, do you want to talk about the pain? I can talk about the pain.
I'm interested in talking a little, just like help us understand some things in your life that aren't going like you want them to. And loaded in this question is, what are you doing about it? Or what are you, just think about the neuroses in that. Like, you got to fix it, but and how are you experiencing it? Maybe that's a better way.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm just looking for an anecdote or something here, just so that everyone at home knows that we've all got our shit.
We all have our shit. Well, I have just come off of, as of 48 hours ago, 3 days of intensive therapy, where I just wept and shook and got stuff out. And that is how I do my work. I mean, I got a great book out of it too.
Wow.
But that's my commitment to go. I don't want my subconscious wounds to be running my romantic life, very specifically. Okay. And everybody has an unconscious, and I want to know what's in there. And I want the love I want in the way that I want it. I want to fully show up.
Yep.
I don't want to project. So yeah, gut-wrenching therapy.
Any specific sort of practice of therapy? Like, is there
I just did EMDR.
Okay.
So,
for those that don't know.
Oh God, I forget what it stands for, but basically you're...
Electromagnetic, no, it does not that, but it's something.
Eye movement desensitize, something.
Yeah.
Please
EMDR,
put it in the notes.
Show notes. Yep.
The idea is that you're going to affect your brain chemistry, and really get stuff out that you don't want, thought forms that you don't want, and reprogram yourself with the really empowering thought forms. And I highly recommend it to people. So EMDR, find a good EMDR therapist.
Great.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Being vulnerable. Let's talk about, right now there's someone out there, I'm just trying to put myself in the eyes and ears of our listeners and watchers. So I'm like, yeah, that sounds like really hard. I don't have time for that right now.
Yeah, well, you know what? Too bad. This is where the tough love comes in. You want to suffer? You want to be riddled with anxiety? You want to half-ass it in your relationships? You want to be lonely? Then don't do anything. Don't look within. Don't go to therapy. Don't meditate. Eat shit. You're just going to continue to re-traumatize and continue to induce pain. Like, this takes work. It takes work. And the joy on the other side of knowing that you can survive and thrive and you still want to make a contribution, and you realize how you're going to realize that you are fundamentally motivated by kindness. And it will change how you walk in the world, and it will change your chemistry. And you'll be really fucking sexy when you realize that. But do the work.
So I'm going to summarize and just say, so there's a practicality to it. It's not just like...
It's not just, look, time does not heal all wounds. Consciousness heals the wounds. Yeah. And you gotta dig in there and examine what it means to forgive people in your life. You're going to get to the bedrock where you realize, forgive yourself for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And yeah, do it.
So can you give us a hint on the book? Because you just, the therapy uncorked.
Well, I think
clearly
the working
something
title for the next book is Things I Do When I'm in Pain. But I don't know if that would sell.
Things that I do when I'm in pain. I wonder if, I think that's the secret to a successful book, right? Is you grab someone as they're walking by the books. Well, of course, people will talk about it, but also, like, what people are saying when they read that title is, I have a little bit of pain I'm carrying around.
Yes.
Is that a untold truth?
No, I think that's the truth. I think two things are happening, pleasure and pain, but we're either really intentionally trying to get home and feel connection and communion, or we're trying to get out of our suffering. And they're both, like, super related.
Explain suffering, because I think, it sort of the Buddhist sense is we're all suffering, and we need to find a way. Go ahead, I'll let you do it.
Well, it's one of the Four Noble Truths that there is suffering. I forget the other two, but another noble truth is that it doesn't have to be this way.
Got it.
And this is why I'm not a Buddhist.
Right. You're a former guilty Catholic. No.
Yeah, I mean, just here, when I lived in Seattle 100 years ago, I was going to, I forget, but a Vipassana center here, and the instructor said to me, how are you feeling? And I said, like, my mind feels more empty, but so does my heart. And it just wasn't going to work for, I was just more into, like, the cosmic Christ, and I just wanted it to all be about love. Suffering, I don't know. I mean, I'm still trying to answer the question for myself if suffering is essential for growth. And I think the answer is probably yes, but I'm going to stay in denial about it.
My friend is a startup guy, and he's a dear friend. He won the America's Cup, just type A, hard-charging athlete, great startup guy, and he's like, he's just had this little wisdom. He's like, Itindi. And I was like, Itindi, is this like it sounded like an African aphorism that I should know. He's like, no, it's important things I'm not doing yet. I've acknowledged that they're important. I'm going to get to them. They're on my list, and, like, you can only do so many things. And I thought it was beautiful, because it's like you have to acknowledge those things, and you have to acknowledge that they're important. You can't tackle all the world's problems, but I digress. Sorry, back to you in suffering.
Well, trying to being outside of Itindi and tackle all the world's problems was causing me huge suffering.
Yeah.
And I mean, with the stuff that's been going on in the last 2 years in the US, and, everything is falling apart because it has to. The structures need to come down, so I take some solace in that. But, I just had a friend say, Danielle, you can't save every fish in the ocean and every plastic bottle. And I'm like, but I can. I need to Instagram about this cause, and I need to raise money for this. And I'm in a different place right now. I'm considering two things. I'm considering seeking less, being less of a seeker and more here. I don't know what that means yet, but I might just try just living
No.
and just really being present, and then that being my service. And also, and even this phrase has made me just rile before, I think I might try staying in my lane and just really, for years I've been preaching about, be yourself and authenticity, but I'm getting it on a deeper level. This is what I do best. And it turns out that what I do best brings me joy. Oh, so maybe me being joyful, maybe me moving towards just the joy projects is really how I can make the most impact. And that I don't need to accommodate suffering in that at all. It's taken a while, Chase, but I think I'm there.
Well, let's pull on that. Does that underpin, the way I talk about it in very brutish, this is maybe sort of male underbite concept here, but
give me the dude speak.
Okay.
I love it.
You got two jobs.
Yeah.
Job one is find out what you love, and job two is to do that thing.
Yes.
And can you harmonize what I just said?
Yes.
With what you stay in your lane and know yourself. Is it know thyself? Is that what we're really getting all this
I think it's love thyself. I think know thyself and love what you know. Because I've been doing what I love for a long time, but with this guilt complex that it could always be more. It wasn't just about more money or more clicks. It was always who else can I help and save? And I've messed up lots of times and have been unhelpful and said things that have hurt people. But just, there's that scene at the end of Schindler's List. I am not comparing myself to Oscar Schindler, but for those of the people who haven't seen the movie, he saved hundreds and hundreds of people from the gas chambers, from the Jewish people. And at the end, he did it by selling pieces of jewelry and false documentation. And he's almost driven himself mad with his devotion to serve. And he just says, I could have done it one more person. And when I saw that, that was aspirational for me. But I missed the insanity part of that. And now that's a completely different situation. We're talking about something absolutely purely horrific. I'm just trying to inspire people on Instagram,
Yeah.
But I think I've had some unhealthy madness around that. That is all about some wound, wanting to be loved, wanting to be seen. I'm going to make myself useful. Mm-hmm. And I'm useful. If I am joyful, I am being of service. Got it.
How do you find joy?
This is joyful for me, a real conversation. Mm-hmm. I like looking for stuff and telling people what I found, knowing that, praying that it might alleviate some suffering and it might inspire some kindness. And, I'm about to, this is immediate joy for me. I'm about to lock myself in a hotel room for 3 days and figure out what my next thing is. And I tell you, hi, room service, and just making notes. And then we're going to make it all beautiful and not put it on Facebook.
But put it in a book?
That's joy.
Or is that a thing? I
don't know. I mean, my assignment right now for my team is please only do what you love, because if you don't, we have to pivot and it costs us money. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
So just be inspired, Danielle. Don't drive us crazy. And I was like, well, I don't know if it's a book or if it's going to be an online program. Is it going to be a course? Maybe I should do something with Creative Live. And they're just like, you just go be pure. We'll figure out how to monetize it. And so that's what I'm going to do.
And is that your normal methodology for
No,
working?
this is a bit of a change up. So normally, because I cannot separate entrepreneurship from artistry, love the game. I love the publishing game. I do love the metrics, as unattached to them as I try to be. Normally, I like to see the package. This is very new for me. Just like, this is in me, and it's been baking. And I mean, I'm about to write about my pain. I don't know. That's a course.
I don't know.
But I'm going to go get it out.
What was
and
the
I will
title?
crave cigarettes all weekend, but I won't smoke.
What was the working title?
The working title is Things I Do When I'm in Pain. Would you buy that book?
What? Talk to me about faux freedoms.
Oh, faux freedoms. What have I got to say about faux freedoms? This happens a lot. Let's talk Burning Man, although I've never been to Burning Man. Get free, let your inner child loose, be more tantric, tap your deep sexuality, let's get naked, let's grease up, let's get each other off in this workshop. You know, that's not freedom for everybody. But because this is that, there's this conversation around sovereignty and sexual freedom, and it's well packaged and it's all filtered, then my experience is there's a lot of women who are on the personal development path who feel like prudes, in contrast to that particular kind of freedom conversation. And no fucking way is a form of liberation. To say, I'm not going to dance in this circle. I don't feel safe. I'm not going to drop my pants in this community with somebody I don't even know because you're telling me that I'm repressed? No. So, yeah, that comes from that.
And is it just in the sexual arena? And is it just for women? Or in your world, does faux freedoms, does that expand to like, if there's a cultural, it's almost like there's like a cultural narrative that's saying, we've discovered gold. And if you're not chasing the gold over here, then you're not evolved.
Yeah, and I think the faux freedom comes in the pressure to share a lot in personal development settings. Listen, Chase.
I'm listening.
You
got my full attention and thousands and thousands and thousands of people.
How a lot of the self-help stuff is being presented, and it might not be the best thing for you to share your deepest, darkest secrets and your stories of sexual abuse or infidelity or whatever it is in a ballroom under fluorescent lights with a bunch of strangers. I think that can be re-traumatizing and freshly traumatizing to some people. And there's a lot of ogreish, patriarchal lording that's happening in those situations. And we're losing a sense of the sacred, that some of those things are meant to be shared with someone who's going to walk the journey with you. They're a skilled psychotherapist, or they're your best friend who loves you no matter what. And that prodding, I have a real problem with. Doesn't mean you can't have an amazing breakthrough.
Yeah.
And I've been in a lot of those workshops, and the CEO stands up and says, bawls his eyes out, and he's shaking and says, my mother never told me she loved me. And that reconstitutes his brain chemistry. It's just not for everybody. And we need to leave space for that.
Is the white hot truth just the thing that all this sort of awareness might not be making us better?
Yeah. The white hot truth, I mean, really, I would retitle the book because, I want to rewrite or burn everything. It would have been, you are your own guru. And That's the message. That's the path. Nobody can predict the future. Your body knows if it's a yes or a no. You have the capacity to know if it's a yes or a no. And it's 50-50 whether you're going to get it right or not. So just follow your own heart and build that agency. Yeah. I want to make my own mistakes.
Yeah.
I don't want to do what somebody else told me and fuck it up. I want to fuck it up in my own way. Yeah.
So I'm obsessed with intuition and following the gut, and I only have really strong experiences of it not going well when I listen to other people. And even if to follow the point that you just made, even if I follow my intuition and I fuck it up, it doesn't feel like a fuck up. It feels like it was supposed to happen.
A stepping stone.
Versus when I follow someone else's things and I fuck it up, I'm like, I knew better.
Yeah, I knew.
Is this normal? I feel like I'm alone in this, but is this?
So normal. I think we learn through contrast, so you got to do that. And I mean, this gets into hero's journey stuff, right? Like the hero always believes a lie. And the hero, like there's always like false information planted on the journey. And that's the rub, where you go, I know, I won't do that again. And we do it 3 more times. Yeah.
Can we talk about go back to you more personally?
Sure.
Thank you for sharing some trauma with us just a little bit ago. Let's talk about some just tactics. We talked about some of the meditation habits that you have. What does a morning look like for you?
Morning. Well, I've recently become a morning person. So
on purpose, because you thought it was more virtuous?
Because I met a dude.
The dude's like, yo, I'm getting up at 5, so are you. No.
Kind of. And I was inspired by the way he was living his mornings. And I was like, yeah, there's something to this. I'd always been a night person, but now it's almost like reverse psychology. If I get up early enough, I feel like it's late. So I'm going to get a lot of stuff done. Tactical morning. So I'm now I don't start work until 10 a.m. And it used to be that I just noticed as a pattern, I was not getting to my desk until 10 a.m. But the guilt I was having for not getting there until 10 was ridiculous. I was like, why don't I just declare it my natural? So by the time I do all my stuff and maybe do a couple laps around the lake or walk with my kid to school, it always ends up being like around 10. So that's when I start, and I'm so excited to do my thing. I run up my stairs. And what was the question?
No, it's just like, what's the morning? Like, what is
That's the morning.
Yeah, that's the morning.
Yeah, there's always music. Sonos has been revolutionary in my life. All I wanted when I got so-called enough success to be able to afford a few things was a hot tub and surround sound. It sounds like some bad disco party, but
together
Sonos,
is very potent, right?
Yeah, music immediately.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Like, what time did you wake up this morning, and what music did you listen to?
Well, this is super woo. I always have particular mantras playing in one room of the house 24/7. Like if I leave the house for 2 weeks, there's a mantra playing. It is like baking the air with sonic awesomeness.
Wow.
But then in the other rooms, oh my God, the new Hosier is out.
Amazing.
Beautiful. Nat King Cole was going on. Greta Van Fleet is really big in our house right now. The Killers, Florence and the Machine. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so music, that's the morning. I get it. You start work about 10.
Yeah.
You talked about eating clean. Are you prescriptive about that? Is it vegetarian? Is it vegan? Is it protein? Is it slow carb? Is it this is like a speed round here?
Yeah, mostly plant-based, and I feel really guilty because Rich Roll is a friend, and I'm just like, oh, I'm not a vegan yet. Ugh. And I have the conversation about vegetarianism with everybody I can. I'm just like, what about the guilt and humane killing? And right now I'm a vegetarian, but could change any day.
Got it.
Yeah.
So is that philosophical, or is it scientific for you and your gut? Or
all of the above. Yeah. I mean, it's about food production and food security. I mean, as Paul McCartney puts it, I think he underwrote a documentary called "If Slaughterhouses Had Glass Walls." if we saw how our meat was produced, we might not be so down with it. It's bad for the animals. And it's not great in terms of, if you consider yourself an environmentalist, you would not be consuming meat at all. So all those reasons.
Got it.
Yeah.
Evening routine, what does it feel like? What's the...
Well, this is
you used
part
to be
of-
a night person, and now you're kind of like rolling back a little bit.
Part of being a morning person is like having 2 days in one. So I really like that shutdown phase now, where it's like dinner is wrapped and you're really moving towards the slowdown. So for me, that's, the kids on guitar, or it's texting with somebody, and it's maybe a documentary. Bathing is a big part of my life, like the hot tub and salt baths and essential oils, and it's very intentional and ritualistic. And there's usually some light thing I do, prayer before I go to sleep. But really, we are rocking until, I have to say, we gotta hit the sack. Like music, it's basically a rock show in my house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can I confess?
Yeah.
I'm a huge hot water, cold water person. Love water. Less baths. I do. I think salts are incredible, but I end up just like hot and cold water. I've kind of been passionate about it for about 5 years, but most recently in my home here in Seattle, I had a cold plunge. So I have a hot tub and a cold plunge.
So hardcore.
It's awesome.
What does it do for you?
I do it every morning.
Every morning?
Well, just as an example, I caught a 6 a.m. flight not too long ago, so that's up at 4, in the cold plunge at 4:15. Uber 4:45 to be at the airport at 5:15 for a 6 o'clock flight.
Okay, I'm impressed.
Not all the time.
But that's okay.
9 out of 10 days, if I'm in Seattle, I will be in that freaking cold plunge. I have had to break ice. It's outside. So I've literally had to break ice. My heel is a good ice breaking tool to get into the cold plunge. And I love it. It's passionate. So it has, I feel like it is a, I had this experience today. I feel like you're my therapist right now. I don't know. Okay, tell me, Chase.
And it reminded you of?
I had a lot going on in my brain. My brain was very active.
Well, because you're interviewing me today. So
yes,
I'm sure as soon as you woke up, you're just like, oh,
stressful.
what am I going
to ask her? This conversation is going to feel so forced. No, it was, I had a head full of yuck this morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cold water, 30 seconds. I do a dunk and then I stay up to my chin for at least 30 seconds, sometimes 5 minutes. And
beautiful.
It is euphoric. It is sort of cleansing. I feel like it makes me like a caveman.
Yeah.
In a super good way, just
that
simple,
primal power.
Simple primal, and when people's like, oh my God, it's so cold. You mentioned contrast, so I get in 105 degree water first, and then I do this. And when I get out, it is like, this is outside. Doesn't matter what time of year, it could be 25 degrees and pouring rain. Or snow, I guess, would happen if it's 25 degrees, and that's not in Canada 25. This is the US 25.
Yeah.
I feel warm. I feel comfortable. Because cold water is cold. Yeah. And when you get out, it is just, I feel invigorated. So I'm curious about the bath. Does the bath, no, go ahead.
I want to talk about what happens for you there. So there's all this physiological stuff that happens. We know in your brain and you're firing, right? Mm. But what I've learned with personal development stuff is that the times where I've been, say, in some state of suffering, which can range from something really trying has happened to like I just woke up feeling a little funky,
Yeah.
If I can push myself in some physical way in moments of suffering, emotional suffering, it's like exponential benefit.
Ooh.
So, just referencing, I just did the 3-day intense therapy thing, and I've been crying over 3 days and working on my shit. And I had this opportunity to go up a whole lot of feet on this mountain when I was exhausted. Let's go. And this is Kundalini yoga is great for this. Right now I'm doing days of 108 frogs.
Wow.
And you just burn the shit off. And when I got fired from my own company, a friend call. I said, like, my own lawyer has just threatened to sue me because I can. I was losing it. And she's like, you need to go in your living room and do some Kundalini yoga right now. And that changed my life and my relationship to physical endurance and emotional suffering.
Wow.
I should just get a cold plunge.
It's way cheaper, way easier.
Yeah.
What I found out that there is actually I had to have two. This might make it easier for the folks at home. Like, oh my God, it sounds fancy. Hot tub's kind of fancy.
Yeah.
I can acknowledge that. It's a
You
luxury.
just get like a put your ass in a Rubbermaid? Is that what you do?
Mine it's fancy, but it doesn't have its own set of pool equipment. So because I didn't have any place to put it in my house, but it is nonetheless it is concrete. It stays very cold. It's very underground. The water comes from underground. There's a bunch of other things that I did. I split homes. I have a home here and a home in San Francisco. In San Francisco, it equals cold shower.
Yeah.
So you don't have to have all this stuff. It's not about the stuff, but I do find it like there's this some sacred sort of feeling about now I'm doing my cold thing. This is for me and it makes me feel good. So cold showers work too.
Yeah, ice on the face too. Great, ladies, great for the skin. Yeah.
Give me a handful of other things that you do that people would be surprised to know about you, like ice on the face.
Ice on the face. I ingest essential oils, so not just diffusing them or smelling them. Key ones, I actually sublingually.
Wow.
And you just get the hit.
Is that something that you need to have a prescription for?
No.
Is that a
No.
doctor advised, like you can just gobble it down?
4 drops of frankincense and what ails you?
Wow.
Yeah.
What else?
What other things? I pivot before I get out of my car or I am on the phone. So I always have a moment to myself of like, why am I getting out? What's my intention? What am I doing? So I've set moments through my day that I've declared as pivot moments to just be present. Don't just get out. Just
like when you touch a doorknob or when you hear a bell ring or those things that, are those good examples or are they better?
I give thanks as soon as I walk into my home. Thank you, everybody, all the great spirits who are here, who support me. I mean, I really treat my home like it's a temple. I pay very close attention to like the new moon. I make my wishes. I only write in pencil.
You only write in pencil?
I only write in pencil. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about checks? You sign in many checks in pencil?
When's the last time you wrote a check?
Someone said that the other day. Did you bring your checkbook?
Transfer.
And I was like, someone has a checkbook? I want to see one of these things. I haven't seen a checkbook since like 87.
I'm very into batching my time.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to create, there cannot be one phone call that day. Not one. I don't want to interact with the human race at all. So I need to have, ideally I have 3 days a week like that are unscheduled.
Wow.
And then I'll batch, I'll do 4 podcasts in a day.
Yeah, but I got the kids and I got a mortgage and I can't have 3 days.
Yeah, well.
Danielle, help me.
Then 24 hours will rock your world. Do what you can. Do what you can.
Do what you can with what you have.
Yep.
Last one. I'm just looking for...
The cure?
Yeah, people want a silver bullet, and it's my goal with this show and part Creative Live. Like, there's no magic cure.
Yeah.
But
there is.
There's been something in your life that has been somewhat of a catapult. It's been a game changer. It's been, I don't want to be like list the cliche terms one after another, but there's been something, and it's not a silver bullet, but something has had transformative effect on you. That's what in part we're all searching for, is even if it's been my transformational thing is to realize that I'm okay right now, and then whatever the thing is, like I'm just trying to give you the range of whatever you say it is going to be a just fine answer, but there's been something. And if you can look, we can only connect the dots looking backwards. Look backwards for me right now.
Okay.
What's been something that's made a ton of difference in your life?
A ton of difference in my life. Just declaring that I'm a loving person. Even if I fuck up, I'm fundamentally, mostly a loving person. And that gives me so much courage to show up and so much padding when the world is cruel. And I just believe that I'm good. And it's getting me by. Yeah.
No better way to end. I got to stop there. That's the best ending to the show I could possibly fathom. Put a pin. No, honestly, thank you so much for being so vulnerable and sharing so much. And congratulations on all. We're looking for this new book about pain.
Yeah, we'll see if it happens. Yeah.
It's stunning. Thank you so much for sharing everything that you shared with us today. Show notes, all that stuff. We'll compile it. We'll share everything. So what's the best place for people to find you?
DanielleLaPorte.com. Center of my universe is Instagram at Danielle LaPorte. If I'm still there tomorrow.
When you'll be locked in a hotel room for 3 days.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being a part of the show.
Thank you, Jim.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give her a shout out on social, follow her, pay attention to what she's doing. She's been changing my life and the lives of so many, and I hope you have a great day. I'll look for you tomorrow. I'll be here. Hope you will be too.
Bye.